So here are three things that we learned from the first year of u.lab. Number one, there is an enormous potential dormant around the world that is actually quite ready to engage in the deeper process of learning and innovation that we were talking about before. And that with the u.lab platform, we try to activate. One of the invitations was that we asked participants to form hubs, which is places where they go through the 7-week process of the u.lab together, as opposed to individually. So where in some cases you invite your colleagues, your friends, your network, and often it's smaller groups, sometimes it's also larger groups. We know about more than 500 that formed these types of hubs or mostly place-based communities. I want to show you a few pictures. In fact, this global map is representing the hubs at the very first beginning of u.lab, where all these hubs have been located. Chengdu, China, Mumbai, India, Sao Paulo, Brazil, and Oakland, California. So we learned that there is not only a big level of interest, but also a significant, if not amazing, capacity to self-organize in these local communities. The second learning is that in some cases, institutions already in the first year started in a strategic way to use u.lab for innovation or change initiatives. So here you see Alibaba in China kind of using u.lab for their internal capacity building processes. This is a picture of Scotland, where we have seen that in the first u.lab there were kind of 5 participants, most of them kind of members of the Scottish government. And they came out of the u.lab in the beginning of the first year with the same idea, which is we should actually make that accessible to everyone, not only the government, also the NGO and other partners, which is what they did. So they conducted like 2-3 pre-meetings. In this picture you see one of them that happened in a church in Edinburgh, and invited change makers from across communities to come in and to use u.lab as a tool to crystallize your own change initiative, find partners, and make it happen in your own context. So an interesting way of moving from a centralized government to a more current state government, which is delivering services to beneficiaries, to a new model in which the communities are self-organizing around their own aspiration and needs and taking action around that. And then here we see an initiative from an NGO that's one of the foremost NGOs in China in the field of education, A-Dream, with whom we launched an initiative to apply the u.lab process to reinventing education, not only in China, but also in other regions around the world. So that's an initiative that is now starting. And another example how u.lab is being used as a tool. A third learning we had, and that maybe is also the most interesting, that it is fascinating to see how the global u.lab community is coming together in live sessions and is can be engaged around the creation of knowledge and global awareness and actions as a community. In the exit survey, we asked people, self-reported, what was it like for you? And so we heard for many it was inspiring, and also for a third of the participants it was even life-changing. Now, that's self-reported. We don't know exactly what it means, but let's say many people had a significant learning and developmental experience as a result of the u.lab. So why did that happen? And we believe it did not happen because people were watching videos. Maybe that's kind of a small part of the experience, but what we believe really makes all the difference is the self-organizing in small group like this one, case clinic groups that for some people in hubs happen in person, for other people happen virtually online with video-based meetings. That can be equally transformative because both of these groups are using the same kind of 7-step case clinic process. And the other transformative moment that we heard from many participants is the hubs and the global live sessions that we conducted across kind of the entire community, where you see that in this picture here reflected. Each time we use, among others, a little mindfulness practice that helps us to not only connect to my experience here and to our experience in our local community, but also to our global community of change makers kind of that we constitute in u.lab. There are a number of fellow activists and people who have been supporting the global u.lab infrastructure worldwide, and we would like to invite you to meet them in the next clip.